So while going to the series rectifier in series, now we will see about the speed reversal. In previous sections we have seen that how the speed reversal is done, and now I'm going to explain how the speed reversal is carried out as follows. So while operating in quadrant 1, the A rectifier will be doing some work and B will be doing other work. So here the rectifier A will be supplying the motor. That means it is acting as a generator and it is giving some supply to the motor. But here B will be in off position. Okay, so only one time, in quadrant 1, only one rectifier we can control. So only one rectifier will be in on position and other will be in off position. Okay, so for supplying the motor, the rectifier A will be helpful and B will be off. And now the firing angle of the rectifier, which is on, it is set to the highest values. Okay, so the highest value of firing angle is set for the rectifier A. So when we give the firing angle to any rectifier, what happens? The thyristor in the thyristor will get on due to the firing angles given to that. Okay, so now after the rectifier works, it will be working as an inverter. Okay, the rectifier works as an inverter and it forces IA to be equal to 0. Okay, so as it forces IA to 0, after 0 current is achieved, that means if you sense any 0 current, you have a dead time of 2 to 10 milliseconds provided. Okay, so this provided time is called as dead time. This is provided to ensure that all the thyristors of rectifier A are off. Okay, so in sometimes in some manner there will be some faults and the rectifier A thyristors will be on continuously. So in order to overcome this disadvantage, we are giving the time called 2 to 10 minutes, 2 to 10 milliseconds called a dead time, so that we are ensuring that all the thyristors of the rectifier are turning to off position. So when they are turned to off position, what happens? Rectifier will be stopped. Rectifier A will be stops working. Now we are giving firing pulses to rectifier B. Okay, we are withdrawing the firing pulses from the rectifier A and they are transferring to rectifier B. So now the firing angles given to the firing pulses given to rectifier B are called as alpha beta. They are set initially at the starting position, they are set to be a highest values. Okay, so always remember that the firing angles set are highest values. So now onwards, the current loop adjustment, current control loop adjustment, we are using a technique called current loop controlling. So this current control loop adjustment is done in the firing angle with alpha beta continuously, because we have to break the motor at the maximum allowable current. Okay, so this maximum allowable current should be braked from the initial position to the 0 speed. And then it accelerates to a desired speed in the reverse direction. Okay, so we can now accelerate this to the desired speed in the reverse direction. And if you, this reversal time and before we got dead time, so these both are time employing methods. So in order to reduce this time employing methods, we have to sense the 0 current accurately. So now when we are able to sense this 0 current accurately, we can eliminate these two time taking methods. So that time sensing and reversal time, these both are time taking methods. So for this we are employing non-simultaneous control. So this non-simultaneous control will be providing faster responses than the simultaneous controls. Okay, so because of this advantage stated above, non-simultaneous control is widely used. Okay, this is how the speed reversal is carried out. And next, coming to our topic, the rectifier control of DC series motor. Okay, now we are dealing with the single phase control rectifier fed DC series motor. These are mainly employed in fractions. So these single phase control rectifier fed DC series motors are mainly employed in fractions. In single phase, we can use both half and full, but what I am showing in the drive circuit in figure A is about the single phase half control rectifier, which is fed from DC series motor. Okay, and the equivalent circuit of this drive, what I have explained now, is shown in figure A as a drive circuit. So as we know that back EMF will be decreasing with the armature current, the discontinuous conduction will only be occurs in a narrow region of operation. So as this discontinuous conduction will be occurring in narrow region, we can neglect this because it is of small area of discontinuous conduction, and if you only neglect this one, continuous conduction is made possible to analyze. Okay, so the waveforms of VA, IA and instantaneous back EMF, this E is also called as instantaneous back EMF. Okay, so the waveforms of VA, E and IA of continuous conduction mode are shown here. Okay, so as discontinuous conduction occurs only in narrow range, we are deselecting it or we are neglecting it. Okay, so in steady state, we know that speed fluctuations are negligible, but those speed fluctuations we consider as negligible. E is not constant because E will be fluctuating with respect to IA, armature current. We have to take into account the fluctuations in the E, and we have to draw the E corresponding to IA. So if you observe the graphs here, we see that E follows IA. E and IA are parallel. Okay, so if you take one speed, if you take a desired speed, and if you observe that E is related to IA through the magnetization curves of motor. Okay, so these magnetization curves of the motor are non-linear, seem to be non-linear because of the reason of saturation. So I can say that EMF, instantaneous back EMF, is a function of armature current IA into omega M. Okay, so now I am describing two equations which describe the motor operation for a duty and freewheeling intervals. So these are the two equations, 27th equation and 28th equation. These two define the motor operation in duty and freewheeling intervals. This is duty interval and this is freewheeling interval. The duty interval has a limits of alpha to pi, and freewheeling interval is having a limit of pi to pi plus alpha. So now we will see the equations for a duty interval. So Vm sin omega t is equal to Ra Ia plus La into dia by dt plus F into Ia into omega m. This is the duty interval from limits alpha to pi. Okay, so if you observe that sine wave is equal to sum of the voltages and freewheeling interval. So here no source voltage, that is equal to 0, and remaining is same Ia Ra plus La dia by dt plus function of Ia plus into omega m. Okay, so this freewheeling interval limits about pi to pi plus alpha. This is 27th and 28th equations. So as we see in this 27th and 28th equations, the voltage E is function of Ia. Okay, so these are having a function parameter, so these are called as non-linear differential equations, and these only can be solved numerically. These non-linear differential equations can be only solved numerically. Okay, a simple method of analysis is obtained when you change small e to capital E, average value. This is the average value E. So I am replacing small e to average value of EA. Actually, EA is equal to Ka omega m. And from this, Ka is equal to function of this E is equal to function of, actually small e is equal to function of Ia into omega m, right? So I am in place of function of Ia, I am putting Ka, right? So average value of EA becomes EA is equal to KA into omega m. That is 29th equation. So from this I can write, see here the equations. As we are seeing that there is a drop will be occurring across the inductance due to DC component of IA is equal to 0. I can write VA is equal to, this is the normal general equation, VA is equal to EA plus IA RA if you apply a KVL. So from here, in the place of EA, I am putting KA into omega m. In the place of EA, I am putting KA into omega m plus IA RA. Right? So from this omega m is equal to, I can write VA minus IA RA by KA. Okay, so this is 31st equation, and from this we can know that torque is equal to, torque can be written as KA into IA. Okay, so this is 32nd equation. So for continuous conduction mode, if you have a value of, from the equations 23rd and 13, from the equations 23 and 13, if you know these equations, we can know the value of VA for both fully and half single control phase rectifiers. Okay, now I will show you 23rd and 13th equation. Please do remember them. So this is 23rd equation. VA is equal to Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. This is 23rd equation. Same 13th equation will also be like this. VA is equal to 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. Okay. 13th equation, remember 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. And 23rd equation, Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. Okay, so by having these two equations, we can find out the value of VA for both fully and half. Okay, now we will see some steps for calculating the speed torque characteristics. These are the steps which are used to calculate speed torque characteristics for a given alpha, taking into account non-linearity of magnetic circuit. Okay, so see, first step you have to follow is a value is chosen for IA, armature current. You have to choose one value. This is the first step. Next one, corresponding to the value of KA, corresponding to the value of KA is obtained from the magnetization characteristics of the motor. So we have the magnetization characteristics of the motor. From that we have to locate the corresponding value of KA with respect to IA. This is the second step. Okay, first step is we have to choose IA, and second step is we have to choose the corresponding value of KA. And third step is, for known value of alpha, we have to calculate the value of VA from the equations before what I have shown, 23rd and 13. Okay, 13 is 2 Vm by pi cos alpha, and 23rd is VA is equal to Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. So from both the equations, if you substitute the known value of alpha, we can calculate the value of VA. Okay, so we have to calculate this value of VA depending upon the rectifier circuit used. Okay, so if it is halfway rectifier, half rectifier or full rectifiers, the formulas will be different, and we have to apply those respective formulas. This is the third step. First step is we have to choose for IA. Second step is corresponding KA should be located, and third step is knowing the value of alpha. We have to know the value of VA. We have to calculate the value of VA from the equations 23rd and 13. Next, fourth step is now WM and T are obtained from the equations 31 and 32. In previous slide, I have shown 31 and 32. So now from these formulas, we have to calculate WM and T. Okay, so these are the 4 steps. So once I am telling the 4 steps, first we have to choose the value of IA. Second one, corresponding value of Ka should be chosen, should be located. And third one, knowing the alpha, we have to calculate VA. And fourth one, depending upon the formulas of 31 and 32 equations, we have to calculate omega m and T. So the nature of characteristics are shown here. So I am showing this nature of characteristics for this circuit. For this dual convert circuit, the nature of characteristics will be like this. Okay, so these are the steps to calculate speed torque characteristics for a given alpha, taking it into nonlinearity of magnetic circuits. Now we will go through the problems. Until now we have discussed about from last onwards. I am saying dual converter, rectifier fed series motor, and single phase fully and half separately excited motor, fed on a DC separately excited motor. So until now we have run the single phase and half and full rectifiers, single phase half rectifier, single phase full rectifier with separately excited DC motor, series motor, and we have known about the dual converter. Now on the single phase and half phase, we will discuss the problems. So see, this is the first problem. This is on single phase fully controlled rectifier. Okay, so see the question. A 220 volts 1500 RPM but 11.6 amperes separately excited motor is controlled by a single phase fully controlled rectifier with an AC source voltage of 230 volts 50 Hz supply. Okay, so for ensuring continuous conduction, we are having enough filter inductance is added to ensure continuous conduction for any torque greater than 25% of the rated torque. So if the torque exists greater than 25% of the rated torque, we are connecting filters as inductance as a filter in order to ensure continuous conduction for our operation. Okay, and armature resistance is given as 2 ohms here. Okay, so now first bit, what should be the value of the firing angle to get the rated torque at 1000 RPM? So see here, in the first bit, we have to find the value of alpha at the speed of 1000 RPM. Okay, so this 1000 RPM is rated torque, it is obtaining at rated torque. And see the second bit, calculate the firing angle for the rated braking torque and minus 1500 RPM. So if you observe the first 2 bits, you are asked to find out the firing angle value. Okay, so but with different speeds. First speed is 1000 RPM and second speed is braking torque. As it is the having the braking torque, the speed will be in negative reverse direction, it will be rotating. So you have to put minus. So at minus 1500 RPM, we have to calculate the firing angle. And in first bit at 1000 RPM, you have to calculate the firing angle alpha. And coming to the third bit, calculate the motor speed at the rated torque and alpha is 160 degrees for the regenerative braking in second quadrant. Okay, so now it is quite opposite to the first 2 bits. Now here we have to calculate the alpha. Sorry, you have to calculate the speed. And here alpha firing angle is given. In first 2 bits, we have to calculate alpha with speeds. Here with alpha we have to calculate the speed. Okay, so coming to the solution, see here a 220 volts 1500 rpm and it is with AC source of 230 volts, right? So this will be converted. This will be converted. See here, this RMS value. So here we are multiplying by why we are multiplying root 2 with the RMS value. So because when we multiply the RMS value with root 2, we will get the peak value, because the RMS value is a mathematical operation to convert the peak voltage to root mean square, which is average value of the sine wave. So if you multiply the peak value by root 2, it is enough now. So that's why we are multiplying the voltage 230 into root 2. Okay, so now we will get, when we multiply through 230 into root 2, 325.27 volts, and E is equal to, see here, we are getting a 220 volt supply, and E total voltage is equal to 220 E minus IaRa. Okay, so this is the voltage, and we are now calculating the RMS value. Total E value. So total E value is equal to E 220 minus I into Ra. I is 11.6 amperes and R is 2 ohms. Okay, so this is the main voltage. So it is 196.8 volts. Now from the equations, from the definitions, we can say that omega m is equal to n into 2 pi by 60. Right? So n into 2 pi by 60. That means we are converting this, actually n into 2 pi is enough, but by 60 we are converting it into RPS, radians per second. So omega m is equal to 1500 into 2 pi by 60. Right? So that is 157 radians per second. And here K is equal to, actually you know from previous sections, K is equal to E by omega m. That is equal to E is 196.8 divided by omega m is 157. That is 1.25. So for a continuous conduction, from equation, before equation what I have said, VA is equal to 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. In the place of VA, I can write IaRa plus E. Okay, so from this equation, IaRa plus E is equal to 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. So from this, first I have to calculate the torque. So at rated torque, first bit, at rated torque, I have to calculate the firing angle at speed 1000 RPM. So at rated torque, Ia is equal to 11.6 amperes. Okay, and back EMF we have to calculate at 1000 RPM. So 1000 RPM is nothing but E1 is equal to N2 by N1. Okay, so N2 by N1 means N2 is 1000 speed and N1 is 1500 speed. Okay, so N2 by N1 into here E is 196.8. E1 is equal to N2 by N1 into E. So that is the new voltage E1 at this rated torque 1000 RPM. Okay, so this gives E1 is equal to 131.2 volts. Right? So from this equation, see here, I am substituting all the values of the known into this equation here. 2 Vm by pi cos alpha is equal to IaRa plus E. Okay, so after substituting 2 into Vm is this one. 325.27 divided by pi. Pi is a value what we have to substitute. So into cos alpha. I have to find out the alpha value here. So cos alpha is equal to IaRa. Ia is 11.6 and Ra is 2 ohms. And E here is the new one because we have to calculate the alpha value at this rate only. At this voltage 131.2 voltage only we have to calculate the alpha value. So 131.2. that is equal to, that becomes total amount is 154.4. So from this cos alpha is equal to 0.75 and alpha is equal to 41.8. Okay, so now we have to find out the second bit also.